It's the SFL Nights It's the SFL Nights with AJ Striker, with AJ Striker. It's the SFL Nights It's the SFL Nights with AJ.
What is up, SFL Nation? Welcome back to SFL Nights with AJ Striker. Thank you so much for joining me today or tonight or whenever you decided to hit that play button or turn on that radio dial. I really appreciate it, y'all. Look who I have with me, my friend, Mr. T-Roy Games of the Baltimore Vultures. How are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you, Ashley?
Doing pretty good, man. How's that fullback life treating you?
I need to do better. I'm not helping my running back at all with these blocks. Hopefully, I'll get better. But hey, we're winning, so that's the important thing.
That's it. Y'all putting up like 40 points a game. Awesome. I think one time y'all did like 60-something points a game.
57. Yeah, we didn't do 60 yet, I don't think. If we did, I completely forgot.
No worries, man. That's it. Y'all doing pretty good. And I like the fact that you guys got so many different weapons to choose from that it's just crazy, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. Thank you for joining me, being my co-host. I'm always grateful to have you. We will be going over week 5 reviews. We're also going to be doing SFL chat around the water cooler where we'll be doing our week 6 pick-ems. I know one game you're not going to pick, and I get that. It's all right. And then we're going to be discussing which teams have made significant improvements since last season so far. Followed by my 4th and goal interview with Miss McBride and Miss Tina Begin of the Lone Star Glory. So it's going to be a wonderful show tonight. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. So T-Roy, now I made my picks last week and was feeling pretty good about them until they start playing out for me this week. And it didn't work out so good for your girl, man. I chose Sioux Falls, Carolina, Florida, London, Vancouver, Louisiana, Queen City, Baltimore, Denver, Jacksonville, Arizona, and the Fort Worth Toros. So let's see how everything shook up. The London Knights took on the Atlanta Swarm, and Atlanta won 24-34. See, starting off on a bad note already. London had 325 yards passing, 41 yards rushing for 356 yards total. Their time of possession was 21 minutes, 45 seconds with 5 turnovers. Atlanta had 207 passing yards, 70 rushing yards for 277 total. The time of possession was 20 minutes, 58 seconds with 3 mistakes. Player of the game was halfback BDG Hollywood with 25 attempts, 66 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 11 reception yards. So, T-Roy, with this game, it looks like London just had way too many turnovers in order to really take it to the Atlanta Swarm like they originally intended.
Yeah, unfortunately, Pickler did through 5 interceptions, and that was what cost him. And Jack Napier, who could have been nominated as the player of the game for that game, had 4 of those for 146 yards. So he basically had if he was a running back, that would have been a great day for him himself. With one, those interceptions went for a pick 6. So that was the huge difference. And BDG Hollywood, as she said, scored the 3 touchdowns that Atlanta had. So he's responsible for 21 of the 34 points. And then Napier responsible for 7. But still give honorable mention to Mike St. Green and Ben Kalia. St. Green had 90 receiving yards. Kalia had 88. St. Green had 2 receiving TDs. But it wasn't a bad defensive performance from Hendricks, Ewing, and Anthony Weil from London because they all have 3 interceptions each. But yeah, the team that made the less mistakes was able to come out with the win on that one.
You know, it's funny because it seems like 3 was a magic number when it came to interceptions and certain things, even touchdowns. It's crazy. You'll see what we mean. Second game was the DC Dragons taking on the Louisiana Revolution, and Louisiana won 16-10. I was right about this game. DC had 234 yards passing, 62 yards rushing, 296 yards total. Their time of possession was 16 minutes, 46 seconds with 2 turnovers. Louisiana had 227 yards passing, only 71 yards rushing, but 298 yards total. Their time of possession was 26 minutes, 13 seconds with 1 mistake. Player of the game was Reggie Streeter. 32 attempts, 70 yards, 1 touchdown, and 61 reception yards. So, looks like Louisiana's back in the limelight with winning this game over the DC Dragons. Pretty good passing yardage, pretty good rushing yardage. I think they just did a little bit more with the time of possession that they had. They had it for 26 minutes versus the 16 minutes that DC had. And I think that was one of the reasons why they were so successful.
And besides that, Utah only threw 1 pick in comparison to Sebastian G, who threw 2. So this was a defensive struggle where points, unfortunately, weren't plentiful in that game. So the team that made the pure mistakes, and that's usually the case, not all the time in the SFL, there's times where one team made the most mistakes but still able to win it. But in this case, it was the former. And Reggie Streeter, they just got him involved. 131 total yards, as you mentioned, rushing and receiving combined. Shout out to Bryant Craven, got an interception during that game, 6 total tackles. Let's also give a shout out to DC. Their defense is scary too. 2 of their players had a lot of tackles. Riley Cuse, 23 total tackles. Jack Russell with 10. And now they just got to get their offense going to match their defense, and they're going to be scary for the rest of the season.
I can see that. You can see the changes that they made, especially in comparison to last season. Number 3, Tulsa Desperados took on the Carolina Skyhawks, where the Tulsa Desperados won 30-24. I was wrong about this game. Tulsa had 334 yards passing, 137 yards rushing for 471 yards total. Their time of possession was 25 minutes, 34 seconds with 3 turnovers. Carolina had 287 yards passing, 74 yards rushing, 361 yards total. Their time of possession was 24 minutes, 43 seconds with 1 turnover. Player of the game was halfback Sanzo Robinson with 21 attempts, 126 yards, 1 touchdown, 22 reception yards, and 1 reception touchdown. So Tulsa came in there and did the work that they needed to. Looks like on both sides of the ball. Even though they still had the 3 turnovers, they were still able to eke out that win over Carolina. Didn't they go to overtime?
I unfortunately missed that game.
I think that they did go to overtime, and Tulsa wound up scoring at the end. They wound up doing a score, if I remember correctly. But a great game to watch, though.
Well, let's give shout out to Sanzo, because that's a former Baltimore. He's the running back that preceded me before with the Crabs and before we came back as the Vultures. Good to see him get 126 yards rushing and then 2 TDs altogether. This is, like I just mentioned this before, this is the one time where one team that made the most mistakes actually ended up winning that game. Tulsa had the 3 interceptions, while Carolina only had 1 from Matt South. You figure with 1 interception, 287 yards passing with 2 TDs, you think that would be a W for Carolina, but Tulsa was able to eke out that win, and JQ threw 3 TDs. Sanzo had 2 himself. Gabriel Manning, man, he's a beast. He had 119 yards as a kick returner, 104 yards receiving with 1 touchdown. So, this was a pretty even match, but Tulsa, in spite of committing more turnovers, got the W.
Fantastic. The Lone Star Glory took on the Sioux Falls Sparrows, and the Glory won 31-24. I was wrong about this game. The Lone Star had 284 yards passing, 111 yards rushing for 395 yards total. Their time of possession was 22 minutes and 5 seconds with no turnovers. Sioux Falls had 343 yards passing, 64 yards rushing, 407 yards total. Their time of possession was 21 minutes, 30 seconds with 1 mistake. Player of the game was quarterback Ace Biddick with 20 completions out of 27 attempts, 284 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a quarterback rating of 144.7. Lone Star Glory definitely needed to win this game, at least to kind of have a shot at the playoffs later on down the road. And they did what they had to do coming into Sioux Falls territory.
And we were talking about this before you start recording. We was wondering, like, who were the quarterbacks this week that did not throw an INT? And I forgot about Ace Finnick. So he's the other. We'll talk about the next one layered on your recap. But it was amazing performance by him with 284 yards passing with 3 TDs and no mistakes, no interceptions. McBride, shout out to her. You're going to be talking to her later in your Fourth and Go interview. Yeah. 111 yards rushing with 1 TD. Dave Axis with a great performance himself. 123 receiving yards with 2 TDs.
Nice.
Shout out to Freddie Trammell for Lone Star and Axel Raven for Sioux Falls. They both had 12 total tackles in that game. And Sioux Falls lost their starting quarterback, Julian Tyree, in the first quarter. So their backup quarterback was responsible for 274 yards in that game passing. So that was like a great performance for a backup quarterback. And this was like any other game, Sioux Falls probably would have won it, but Lone Star was just on points. So and they the one who came out with the victory in the close one.
That is a good point to mention. Your quarterback does go down and you had to bring him back up in. You know, who knows if Julian would have stayed healthy the whole game, maybe things would have been different. But that's not a bad performance from the backup either.
Exactly. You know? Backup, that's not a player that's getting progressed during the week. This is just a non-contract that played his butt off.
Exactly. Shoot. Let Trubinsky, my backup quarterback, come in.
Morehouse had to come in for me back when I was starting running back because I got injured and sent to the Shadow Realm. So,
man,
it almost worked out for us against Vegas back in season 12. So,
that's the last time you've been hurt? Knock on wood?
Thankfully, yes. I think so.
Yeah.
I got wood here. I had to think about that for a second. I have been injured but came back in a couple of games, but I haven't been injured for at least out for the game since season 12. Yeah, knock on wood. Hopefully that doesn't happen against DC or any other team in the near future.
Exactly. The Vancouver Legion took on the LA Vikings and Los Angeles won 47-27. I was wrong about this game as well. 306. Vancouver had 306 yards passing, 99 yards rushing, 405 yards total. Their time of possession was only 18 minutes and 1 second with 2 turnovers. LA had 277 passing yards, but 252 rushing yards for 529 total offensive points scored. The time of possession was 25 minutes, 3 seconds with 1 turnover. Player of the game was halfback Robert Johnson with 32 attempts, 256 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 5 reception yards. Fantastic efforts by both teams. LA, again, they had to win this game after a rocky start that they had. Their rushing game, I think, was the one that put them over the top. And for their defense to stop Robert Redford the way they did, has to be mentioned.
Yeah, that's one of those shockers. You didn't expect Redford to not rush for 100 yards. I think he had 145 total yards with no TDs. And then Pepper had a very good game himself. Just unfortunately through the 2 interceptions. Kendra Hall dominated. Drew Hamilton and Mark Lopez combined for, let's see if I can do my math right, 29 total tackles between them. So they were balling. It's just that Robert Johnson was just wearing out the defense. And you already mentioned his yardage. His longest carry in that game was 33 yards. So it wasn't no 50, 60-yard runs. These runs are usually the one that just demoralizes defenses in a physical way through not only the blocking, but through his punchy runs. He had a couple of runs where he was just stiff-arming folks a lot. You can tell that he just basically wore Vancouver's defense out. And LA, ever since the coaching change, has been on fire. That's their second straight win. after the coaching change. So,
gotcha. Good point. Very good point. The Mexico City Aztecs took on the Florida Storm, and Florida won 48-29. I was right about this game. Mexico had 377 passing yards, 160 rushing, with 537 yards total. Their time of possession was 22 minutes, 30 seconds, with 6 turnovers. Florida had 321 passing yards, 106 yards rushing for 427 total yards. Their time of possession was 20 minutes, 21 seconds with 2 mistakes. And T-Roy, you have to choose a player of the game because unfortunately the graphic was cut off before we could choose one. So I'm gonna let you get that honor, sir. But before that, I must say that I think the reason why Florida, first of all, does very well at home. It's very hard for me to choose against Florida when they're at home. They just know how to win.
Right.
But causing 6 turnovers definitely helped too.
Yes. And speaking of this, Andrew Francis, I got to give him a shout out. I know he's kicking himself. He had an interception. It was for 101 yards. Did you think he scored?
No.
He did not. At least in the stat sheet, it was not recorded as a score. As of this moment, as of this recording, which is Monday, August the 23rd, the game's not on the SFL YouTube channel archive yet. So I haven't got a chance to watch this live or watch it on demand, but it's recorded as not a touchdown. So that's kind of, I know Andrew Francis got to be kicking himself for having one of the longest interception returns for 6, except it wasn't for 6. If I have to give an MVP to anyone, they usually going to give it to the quarterback, but I'll give it to Boletsky because he scored 3 rushing touchdowns. So I'll give it to Charlie Boletsky on that one. I did not know that J.W. Doyle retired his player. I'm like 5 weeks. He's not listed in the stat sheet. Yeah, he's not even listed. I did my research for the stats. He's not listed at all. J.W. Doyle, the former fullback for them.
Yeah.
So either he retired his player or they just forgot to put his name on here. One of the two. I'm sure people make mistakes. I have made mistakes before. I mean, in the game that I called, I couldn't do math right. I said that one team was leading by 6, where they was only leading by 4. So
it was just a couple points off.
Yeah, just a couple points off. So we have made mistakes, but I was kind of shocked. Anyway, let's get back on track.
I will say before I did see Doyle's name in blue, so I'm thinking he's still on the team. They just
okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, so I hope he's still on the team. Maybe that was just an error by us on the stats there. But Phoenix Jones had a good day in spite of the loss. Another 100-yard performance, 132 rushing to be exact. He had a long carry of 74 yards, and Ray Bentley, the fullback, the alter beast, Hall of Famer, 70 total yards in the fullback position. So I'm trying to be like him now.
Okay. And you will. Hopefully. I mean, they already giving you touches, and like I usually don't see fullbacks get too many touches, and they're still able to get the running back involved. Crazy.
Right. And that's what Mexico City is doing a good job. It's just that they just got to minimize those mistakes. I'm sure they'll get that shored up as the season goes along.
Definitely. The Houston Hyenas took on the Queen City Corsairs, and the Queen City won 20-7. And I was right about this game. Houston had 214 passing yards, 54 rushing yards, 268 yards total. Their time of possession was 17 minutes and 12 seconds with 3 turnovers. Queen City had 182 yards passing, 156 yards rushing for 338 yards total. Their time of possession was 25 minutes, 47 seconds with no mistakes. Player of the game was Jet Zero. 34 attempts, 151 yards, 2 touchdowns, 8 reception yards. So Queen City is on a roll. They're very hot. Don't see them fizzling out at any point, at least probably for the rest of the season. I know any given Sunday, anything can happen, but they're just too hot right now. They seem to be playing very balanced ball, and looking at the stat sheets, if you can get both your running game and your passing game involved and score over 100 points in both, I don't see how you can lose. And no turnovers either. You're careful with the ball.
That's the thing. So there's 3 quarterbacks there. So this Caswell didn't throw an interception.
Yeah,
that is off camera.
exists.
See, you need to have Ashley record me and her off camera stuff, because I was basically on 10 off camera. I'm like chill right now off camera before the recording. I was on 10 anyway. But Caswell did a good job. No turnovers. I mean, it's kind of hard to lose a game where you don't, commit any turnovers. So that's a great performance. Jet Zero's a beast. Shout out to King Jamal and Cody Griffin, combined for 18 total tackles for Queen City. Both had 1 INT. Dave Burgess, unfortunately for him, had an off day with 3 interceptions. Warren Murray held under 100 yards total offense. You don't expect that. I know Damon Simeon want Murray to, have a 100-yard game basically every week, especially that now Murray's a finesse back, a very speedy back. I'm trying to kill this fruit fly. It just came right in my face. He's going to get it before the end of the show. Watch.
I believe you.
Yeah. And a shout out to Josh Rowe and Brody Groach. They combined for 27 total tackles for Houston, but Queen City's they're perfect. They're actually leading the North Division. Queen City and my team Baltimore have the same record, but Queen City had the division game. We haven't had one in Baltimore yet, so that's why Queen City is the top dogs in the North, and you see why with their performance week in, week out.
Absolutely. But, you guys didn't have a too shabby performance this week either. Baltimore took on the Las Vegas Fury, and Baltimore won in a big way, 34-0. Las Vegas had 188 yards passing, 67 yards rushing, 255 yards total. Their time of possession was only 16 minutes, 26 seconds with 5 turnovers. Baltimore had 418 yards passing, 58 yards rushing for 476 yards total. Their time of possession, 26 minutes, 44 seconds with 1 mistake. Player of the game was Ivory Irvin, wide receiver with 16 receptions for 239 yards, 2 touchdowns, 14.9 yards per catch. So, man, you guys were playing lights out. Defense was not having any noise, not allowing any points to be scored whatsoever. Not even the field goal kicker couldn't get in on it. You held them to only 188 yards passing, while Wigmore went off with 418. So you guys just had clearly a better game all around.
And that's just due to everybody buying into what TJ and T-Pat, our owners and coaches, are trying to do every week. So I had to give props to them, give props to Jack Whitmore. He's currently been on fire, and hopefully that will continue. 418 yards passing. He seems like he averages like 350 plus a week so far. I mean, the passing attack is amazing. It's like watching arena football. And me and Jimmy, we can just sit back and relax and let our receivers, go and take care of business. If it's not Ivy Urban one week, it's going to be Mac Chima another week. Daley Holder and Lloyd Graham is doing their thing. Saron Yates, shout out to him with 4.5 sacks, 6 tackles for loss. And Gio and Ben Stacking Paper had 5 interceptions combined. Gio with 4 of those. So everything's been, I'm enjoying it so far in season 17 in terms of us winning. So as long as I can, help contribute, do my part, I'll be have a little less gray here than I do now. I just feel bad. It's like everybody's kicking butt. I need to do more, and they open up those holes for Jimmy so he can, join in on the fun too. But it's, I gotta give shout out to T-Pat and TJ. They are the reasons why we are, off to a great start, and hopefully we can continue that as the season goes along.
Absolutely. Now, next game was the Portland Fleet taking on the Denver Night Wings, and Portland won 38-23. I was wrong about this game. Congratulations goes out to Portland. That was a heck of a game to watch. You guys put forth a valiant effort against the championship, when the current championship reigning team. And congratulations, man. That was dope. Portland had 250 yards passing, 128 yards rushing for 378 yards total. Their time of possession was 17 minutes, 51 seconds with 3 mistakes. Denver had 277 passing yards, 156 rushing yards for 433 yards total. The time of possession was 25 minutes, even, and when they had 3 turnovers. Player of the game was Gene Valentine, wide receiver for Portland Fleet, with 4 receptions, 117 yards, 1 touchdown, and 29.3 yards per catch. Now, this is interesting, T-Roy, because Portland won the game, but they put up less passing yards, they put up less rushing yards, and they even held the ball for less time, and they still had 3 turnovers. So what was the real difference in this game?
And its defense, I guess, had to make more plays.
Yeah.
They had the interceptions, but also maybe the timing of those interceptions probably would have helped out Portland more than the other team, Denver. And remember, Denver, even though they are the defending champs, they also are unfortunately rebuilding in a big way. They lost a lot of people for retirement. They went out on top, and that's a great way to end a career, winning their second championship, went out on top. But once Eric Price minimizes those interceptions, that coaching staff is going to put him in a great situation. And that's going to be with progression. Once progression gets better, Eric Price will be scary, very scary. He's already scary now. He threw for 277 as a rookie, threw into 277. Bailey O'Shaughnessy as a rookie, 140 yards. So he's starting to see the influence of McChesney and O'Shaughnessy right now. So it's just that Portland was able to do more in this game in comparison to Denver. I mean, shout out to Shaw Allen, 12 total tackles with 1 interception. Josh Vasquez, 10 total tackles for Denver. Logan Keel, 100 yards receiving. It's just that Portland did enough to get that W. But yeah, Denver's going to be scary as the season going along. And then next year, if they keep everybody and they keep progressing, I promise you they're going to be back to what they were seasons 16. Excuse me. They may be going to be back to that by the end of this season. Excuse me. So don't count Denver out yet. They're going to get there. Their coaching staff is legendary, so I wouldn't count them out yet.
No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't. It would be a mistake too. Just like Jacksonville, you shouldn't count them out too. Speaking of which, St. Louis took on Jacksonville in Jacksonville, and Jacksonville won 27-24. I was right about this game. St. Louis had 340 yards passing, 31 yards rushing, 371 yards total. Their time of possession was 19 minutes, 20 seconds with 3 turnovers. Jacksonville had 270 yards passing, 50 yards rushing for 320 yards total. Their time of possession was 23 minutes, 13 seconds with 4 mistakes. Player of the game was halfback Jared Willis with 18 attempts, 55 yards, 1 touchdown, 47 reception yards. So even though Jacksonville was 0-4, St. Louis, came in, and even though they put forth a valiant effort, if they would have scored a little bit more on rushing, they may have pulled out the win. But it's amazing to me again how Jacksonville did have 4 turnovers, and a little bit more in the rushing percentage, but even less for the passing, and still won.
Yeah, it's just the timing of St. Louis's interceptions that what cost them, and I believe Jacksonville was able to, on their at the end of the fourth quarter, near the end of the fourth quarter, march down for the winning touchdown. I think even Jared Willis got injured in that drive or the drive before that, and Marcus Dunhill and the rest of the Pride, that's their former name, the King, excuse me. I'm still used to them as the Tallahassee Pride.
Me too.
But the Jacksonville Kings was able to eke it out at the end. So that's Frank Gooden. Yeah, Frank Gooden is a very good coach himself. So and St. Louis just even though they commit less mistakes, just things didn't go their way at the end of the game. And we still gotta give a shout out to Eagle Mondavi, 201 receiving yards alone with 2 TDs. And then Colin Douglas, I gotta mention him, 12 total tackles. 3 of them were tackles for loss and 2 pat downs. So he was busy on defense from the secondary spot, but Jacksonville with Darian, Gooden, and Lamano with 1 interception each was helped squeak out that win for him. What's that their first win or second win?
I believe that's their first win.
First win of the season. So there you go.
Mm-hmm. Next up, second to last game, was the Fort Worth Toros taking on the Charleston Predators. And the Toros won 16-13 in a nice tight battle. The Toros had 218 yards passing, 112 yards rushing for 330 yards total. Their time of possession was 24 minutes and 25 seconds with 2 mistakes. Charleston had 193 yards passing, 87 yards rushing, 280 yards total. Their time of possession was 19 minutes and 15 seconds with 2 mistakes as well. Player of the game was wide receiver Stephen Hacker with 13 receptions, 103 yards, 1 touchdown, 7.9 yards per catch. Now, it's funny because when we were at the convention, it was great being able to see live reactions in real time. And I was sitting next to Stephen Hacker doing their game. And when I tell you, he is one of the most passionate people about his team that I've ever seen in my life. It was just great to see that in person. And they won this by a field goal. So it was a very close game. I just think that Fort Worth was better on both sides of the ball in comparison to Charleston this game.
Yeah, it started off looking like Charleston was going to make some noise in that game. Especially in the second half, I actually called that, not second half, but second quarter, I called that game with Joshua Pineda. People might not know him. If you just think of the name Levant Irvine, that's Joshua Pineda. So it's good to see him back in the booth. And what's going on with Fort Worth, again, I give some shout outs to Jason Williams and Stephen Hacker. They reached milestones in that game. Jason Williams had reached a 9,000 yard total yards game mark in his career. And he also reached the 7,000 yard rushing mark in his career. So congrats to him doing that in the same game. Stephen Hacker had 500 career receptions. He earned his 500th career reception. Make sure I said that right. Congrats to Stephen Hacker. He also has earned, he had 95 yards receiving that game. He actually had 103 yards receiving. He needed 95 to reach 7,000. So congrats to Stephen Hacker for getting 7,000 career receiving yards. And then Ken McCarl got 400. Got his 400th career reception in that game. And I was kind of like thinking, like, did he get it? He finally get it? I was saying that during the podcast. It's like, he finally got it. It's like, no, somebody else got it. It's like, oh, okay. So congrats to Ken McCarl of Charleston, Stephen Hacker, and Jason Williams for Fort Worth for getting their personal career milestones, achieving those milestones during that game. But TD Drew just didn't throw a touchdown. If he just threw 1 touchdown, that would have been a W for Charleston. The defense just for both teams came to play.
Yeah, you're right. Congratulations, guys. This is going to make me doing player of the week that much harder. You know, everybody had a really good performance. But it is one last game we got to talk about before I end things off. And not particularly happy. Okay, I got mixed feelings, and I'll tell you why. The Arizona Scorpions took on the San Diego Mavericks, and San Diego won their first game in
franchise history.
So it's been like a season and almost a half before they actually saw one win. And we gave them that gift. So congratulations, guys. They did put forth a valiant effort. And they actually had, San Diego had 288 yards passing, 61 yards rushing, 349 yards total. Time of possession was 22 minutes, 44 seconds with no mistakes. While Arizona had 278 yards passing, 61 yards rushing, 339 yards total. Our time of possession was 20 minutes, 8 seconds with 1 mistake. So, T-Roy, first I got to say this. My Tyler Falk was on my show for the past couple of weeks, and he told me that if we did not win this game, that he was my bogey, and that I probably should try to get somebody else to see if we win this. So this is actually an experiment to see if he's actually right too. Because he said that more than likely we were going to lose this game because he was on my show. Crazy, but we did lose. Just saying. But
so that's why I'm on the show this week.
No, you're on the show this week because you owe me, sir.
I owe nobody.
You owe me. We'll talk about that, but you owe me. But it's crazy because we both had the same amount of rushing yards, only off by 10 yards as far as passing is concerned. But I think that one turnover, that one interception that I threw, man, that was probably the reason that we lost the game.
You only lost by let's see if I can do my math right, 8 points, right?
Yes.
27-19. So, yeah, just unfortunately, like the timing of the mistakes can unfortunately hurt a team, and still get props to for you guys. 278 yards passing is not a bad day at all. 2 touchdowns, not a bad day. 1 interception is not a bad day. Usually in the SFL, only 1 INT will get you a win.
Usually.
From a quarterback. Usually. James Hands, 138 yards receiving with 1 touchdown. Sean Moore played lights out on defense. He led your team in defense with 9 total tackles, 1 for a loss. It's just that San Diego did not make a mistake. So, and then Jalen Wells, yes, he had 61 yards receiving, but he had 133 total yards. So you combine his rushing and receiving, he had 133, and he had 2 rushing touchdowns. So his performance was the difference in terms of the points scored. So it's just that, like I said, on a normal day, if you read that stat line that you had, Ashley, and ignore the score, people probably would have thought your team would have won. It's just that San Diego played their butts off this game and did not commit a mistake, and that's what helped them.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't want to take any shine away from them, because I know that was a good feeling for them to win their first game. As I stated in general chat, it's a great win for the team, helps boost the morale. And I would think that it's a great win for the coaches too, because they work tirelessly for season after season, and you're one of losing these games, and then you have that one breakout point where it's like, okay, we know what we're doing. It's just about finding that rhythm of things, and it looks like they got it. So congratulations, y'all. Jalen Wells was the player of the game. Now, it looks like from what you were saying, my graphic is a little bit different. I have 27 attempts for 71 yards, 1 touchdown, then 62 reception yards for and 1 reception touchdown as well. So maybe when you combine both of those, that will equal up. Yeah. Okay. All right. But that was it. That was a week 5 in a nutshell. Fantastic games to watch. Things are getting a lot tighter in the divisions. You're going to start seeing people separate themselves from the pack, and you can even see possible playoff potentials in even some of these divisions as of already. But we do have SFL chat around the water cooler that we're going to start right now. And if you would like any more information about us, if you would like to know where you can go to listen to all of the podcast content creators that we have out here, articles, if you want to know more about the schedule or roster files, anything of that nature, visit our website at www.simulationfl.net. It's brand new. I know you guys are going to love navigating it. And you can even sign up to get a call from our wonderful commissioner, Mr. Cameron Irvine, which is one of my favorite features of the website. All right. So we're going to be discussing which teams have made significant improvements since last season thus far. I would like to start off by saying Queen City being one of them. They are still undefeated at this point, coming off from seasons where they had a high turnover rate as far as their front office staff goes, and even some players, important roles in their organization. So they were able to overcome that so far. They're four-time championship winners, so of course they faced adversity at some point to even get to this four-time championships under their belts. They're currently first in their division. New coaching staff with Chris Komasak is absolutely on fire. He has taken that offense and they're firing on all cylinders, and even the defense is bending but not breaking. So kudos to Queen City for turning things around, it seems.
Yeah, they lost important people. Some of those people went to Fort Worth, if you remember. So formerly known as Nacho Sicario and then Stephen Hacker, they went to run Fort Worth. So they lost important people there. Yeah. But who they pick up? They pick up I want to say it was Andre Krim. I got that right? Mm-hmm. Is it Andre Krim? You got Jay Hayden, my former teammate from Baltimore, season 15 champion himself. And then they got a new philosophy. They're doing it via on the ground. So they're a very physical team and they don't make mistakes. And it's kind of hard, again, to beat a team that don't make mistakes. And Queen City's been on point so far. And again, they are number one in division, like you said. They had that division game. We in Baltimore will get our first division game this week against DC. So Queen City is the top dogs. It's like back in season 11, they were top dogs, and we had to try our best to knock them off, and it wasn't easy. So Queen City's back, and hopefully they can keep this up. Hopefully not against us, but hopefully they can keep this up for the rest of the season. Yeah, I had some PTSD against Queen City before, thanks to a couple of their players. That's now in Fort Worth.
Come on now, your whole
season
team
14
is causing PTSD with Bo Martin Jr. I bet he still see Max Shima in his dreams, just flying past them. Speaking of which, I wanted to mention you guys as well. When you told me that you were not going to be the running back anymore, I was like, because I wasn't sure how that was going to work out. But then when you added Jimmy Hazards, which was one of the top players in the SFLM, I was like, okay, looks like he knows what he's doing. I mean, you always try to steal all of our players, so of course you know. But Baltimore is a cornerstone team with seasoned coaches and a high-powered offense. Jack can score on you all day. If he's not throwing, he has options with you being a fullback, even with Jimmy Hazards if he needs to. So he has basically 5 different weapons that he can use at his disposal. Even if he wants to just sit back in the pocket, he has those people that he can count on to catch the ball and make the plays. Former champions, the Wake and the committee are forces to be reckoned with. Defense is proficient in takeaways, and the offense is just scoring by any means necessary. And I think that because I personally wasn't sure where you guys are going to go, I think that you're one of those teams that is going to be in the playoffs, definitely, if not the championship.
I hope, and I'm knocking on wood right now, that we will make it this year. But again, that's just props to everybody buying into what TJ and T-Pat, Dr. T-Pat, is trying to do for the team offense and defense. And shouts to the coaches and scouts as well. That's the reason why we're doing as well as we have been. Everybody's buying in. We got Hall of Fame coaches that has won championships. Not saying that other teams don't. I'm saying we have that here. So, and they have now, we all have 1 year's experience under our belt with the legendary settings. But, we got to get ready to face our division rivalries. We got to face London twice. We only faced Queen City once and DC once. So we have to win those games just to make sure that we will have a leg up on all 3 of those teams in the division, because they can make the playoffs themselves. So if they have a even better second half of the season that they currently experiencing themselves in the first half. So I just gotta give a shout out to TJ and T-Pat and the rest of my teammates for buying in, and we just got to keep it up. And the only thing we could do is focus 1 game at a time. I think that's what everybody should do, just focus on 1 game at a time, so you don't look ahead and fall into a trap game. So up next for us, we got to focus on DC, and we worry about tomorrow's issues tomorrow.
That's it. Couple more teams I wanted to mention was actually 3 more. DC has made significant changes in their they're getting a lot comfortable, at least coaching wise. They're getting a lot more comfortable with the legend settings, even though Destro has been in the league forever. Mm-hmm. It's just that, when you're dealing with so many young starters, last season he had a whole bunch of just newbies, just rookies. Then now everybody's starting to get seasoned. The team build is starting to actually work together to actually come out with some wins. So I'm really proud of DC for stepping up as well.
Think about when you start off with relatively new players, people that hasn't been in the league for a season or two, that means unfortunately you are a step behind everybody else that has that experience. So once people who stay with the team, they don't lose anybody, stay with the team and continue to progress, they will get better. Their coaching staff with of course Jestro, Jermaine Smith, and then Sebastian G himself, Stephen Molinax. They also got Chris Britton, who's the fullback. Once they got high quality coaches there, so once the team progresses, they're gonna get scarier and scarier and scarier. So you can't sleep on DC. And they held Louisiana to 16 points. We all know that Louisiana a couple seasons ago were scoring machines. So DC is on the rise. They just got to keep, number one, they can't lose any players. And if they get new people, they just got to keep progressing. Everybody has to buy in. Then DC will be scarier eventually.
Absolutely. I wanted to mention the London Knights.
Yes.
They had some turnover as well, but I think with the pieces that they added with Johnny Pickler, I think with Chad Rowland coming over there to help out as well, former Baltimore Vulture.
And champion himself.
Yeah.
He won't want to admit that. Even though he left during the season, he doesn't want to admit that. It's like, you are a champion. Yeah, he feels like since he didn't finish the season, he doesn't deserve that championship thing. It's like, wait a minute. I know players who like New England Patriots, Jeremy Hill, he got injured in the preseason and they won the Super Bowl. He's credited with a Super Bowl ring.
That's right. Shut up, you don't take that ring and hush.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're a champion, man. You're a champion.
What's wrong with you? But being able to get their offense off the ground as well, they've been doing really good. Of course, we know Johnny is going to pass. That's what he does. Mm-hmm. I think that they are going to surprise a lot of teams because with them having the new coaching staff and with them kind of turning their playbooks around significantly, you don't know what to expect from London.
Exactly. And they got Mike St. Green along with Pickler. Yes. So those two are now the deadly combination for London. So you got to watch out for that. And they got a very good supporting staff on that offense. The rest of the offense, you got Robert Merrill, who's been in the league for ages now. And he's a 2-time champion himself. Oh, 3-time champion. Apologize. I almost took away one of his rings. He won all 3 with the then Alaska Storm as a wide receiver. And of course, the last ring that they won, he was the halfback and Jason Williams was the fullback at that time. So they got championship caliber players with Chad Rowland and Merrill. And you add Johnny UK to that equation at great defense. Great coaching staff. They just gotta stay on that team for seasons to come and progress, and they're gonna be scarier. I would love to see them be a little bit more balanced in the run game because I think that will make it even harder to game plan against them. Mm-hmm. Personally, I think for me personally, I would love if anybody can be balanced, have a good rushing attack with the passing, and I think that's what Denver was able to do last season. Had that dominant running game, and the passing game was just on point. If somehow London can be able to do that, I think they'll be over 500 this season, and I think they'll have a chance to make the playoffs this season.
Absolutely, I totally agree. And excuse me, the last team that I wanted to mention was the Portland Fleet. Especially with this win over Denver. They have been making significant strides over the past few seasons that they've been in existence to be better. They spend time studying and they progressively get better and better. I think of them as the comeback kids. Love the way that they amped up the running game with Ezekiel Love. If you don't stop Love, then 9 times out of 10, you're going to lose that game. Coaches seem to have found a rhythm on defense as well. So I think as a unit, they've grown so much. And I would love to see them at least make it to the playoffs this season.
I think that win against Denver will be the win everybody's going to look back at the end of this season, especially if Portland makes it and has a deep run in playoffs. I think that win is a turning point. Be honest with you, we were very fortunate in Baltimore to get that win over Portland in Portland. And weren't for me being a goofball and fumbling it, I never seen that fumble before. I was like, what the heck? I'm trying to watch what I say right now because I wasn't happy. But to see that fumble, that really made me angry. But my teammates bailed me out. But Portland should have been 4-1, be honest with you, if Jimmy Haslam didn't have that walk-off touchdown run. So Portland almost got us. So they are legit scary. Their thing is that this guy keep their starting quarterback for a long time. They lost, I believe, Matt South, and he went to Carolina. So now they got their current quarterback. And once he progresses and he stays with that team, Portland is going. That's the final piece that they need. They have all the weapons around. They just need to get that quarterback to progress and become scarier than what he is now. That's the phrase I keep saying, but it's true.
Yeah, because O.J. Bruin was actually overlooked. Was it last season? Oh, during last season's. The season before, he was overlooked. Because I guess teams just didn't need a quarterback that year, that season. So next thing you know, he's getting drafted to Portland this season, and he has been firing on all cylinders. So congratulations to you guys, and good luck. Good luck. Did you have anybody that you want to add to this list?
No, I like the. I know it's a little bit shaky, but LA, it's like that franchise starting off at Chicago. Now with LA seems to have some type of hiccup. We already know about the issues back in season 15 when they were known as the Wildcats. That's now all blown over. Everything's all good now. They had an issue earlier this season. Unfortunately, they had to get rid of the coach. Even though they were over 500. And yet, with their new coaching staff, the current one right now, I think both of their games, they score over 20 points. So now their offense is scarier. Defense is holding up. LA Lycans, I think, is a team you don't want to sleep on, because if you do, you're going to get run over by Robert Johnson and Tommy Rahman. Got to get used to Tommy Rahman being on offense there. And then defense, you got Ray Colston, and you got everybody else just playing lights out, and Sully Richardson's doing a good job as a quarterback. So if I want to give a shout out, it's LA for their doing a great job, overcoming adversity. They find a way to do that, and I think they're another team to look out for the rest of the season.
I agree. And sometimes, as a coach, you want to get that help, and you want to get that fresh set of eyes in there to help you out, things like that. I think they learned a valuable lesson, though, in the selections that they make to help them out. Because I always thought, in my opinion, that they were fine to begin with before they added James Richards to the coaching staff. Yeah. Now, mind you, James has been around for a while. He left on hiatus and then came back, but he was the original owner of the Indiana Spitfire, which I can understand why the decision was made in order to get help, because he was such a seasoned owner. However, when you have differences of ideas, when things are not really panning out for you, and you have 20 other people telling you that they're not happy, some decisions have to be made. So I wish James the best. Hopefully he'll find a place that will, take him in as a coach, things like that. And I wish LA the best as well.
I was gonna say one more thing. It's like I don't hate either side of that LA because I got people who I root for in LA there, and I know James Richards for a long time. I know him since, or at least talked to him before.
Yeah.
He actually helped me out, as well as Damon when I first started as a commentator back in season 11. So it's very unfortunate to see the events unfold as they are because I didn't want anything to happen to LA after all they've been through before that. And I definitely like James Richards. He's a very good person. It's just unfortunately things didn't work out. But fortunately for LA, they handled adversity very, very well. So props to them. Seriously, sincerely, props to them. And I hope, like James, if he comes back, I hope things work out better for him as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, and we are going to slide over to week 6 pick-ems. Now, these games are going to be taking place on Friday, Sunday, and Monday of this week. Our wonderful Commissioner Cameron Irvine is making some wedding plans with his lovely, lovely bride-to-be, Alexis. So let him get some time for that. We'll bug him later.
Oh, yeah.
But so on Friday on the Twitch network and for the fans, and Next Level Sports, the Las Vegas Fury will be taking on the Denver Nightwings at 5 p.m. on Friday, which is going to be a great game. I think Denver is going to be really, really upset about this loss that they just took to Portland. And I think they're going to take it out on the Fury. So I think I'm going to go with the Denver Nightwings to win this game.
Yeah, I remember talking to Damon. I said the team that has to face Florida after Florida lost to Fort Worth is going to regret facing Florida. I think this unfortunately could be the same thing for Las Vegas. Denver's going to be ready to prove a point in Vice Wars 9. So I do agree with you. I'll pick Denver on that one.
Awesome. And the Florida Storm will be taking on the Houston Hyenas Friday at 5:15 on SFL Twitch channel. Going to be another great game to watch as well. I think that the Storm, and Dave Burr, please don't get mad, but I think that the Storm is going to take this probably by anywhere from 3 to 7 points. Just because Houston is struggling a little bit. If they can't get those struggles sorted out before this game, I could see them winning, but I think I'm going to go with the Storm on this one.
Yeah, I think because the experience at quarterback is going to help the Storm out. Not saying that Dave Burke cannot have that no turnover game, but he's going to have to play lights out against a very stingy and experienced team on the side of the ball on defense in the Storm. So if Dave Burke plays lights out, I think they can win it, but I'm going with Florida on this one.
Gotcha. Also on For the Fans Twitch network, on Sunday, August the 29th, the Louisiana Revolution will be taking on the Atlanta Swarm. And I think that as well as the Swarm played this week, I think I'm going to go with them to win this game as well. Even though we do have some fantastic stars over there in Louisiana. You have Brian Craven over there helping out with the coaching staff against Mark Chisholm, both of them quite seasoned in the league. I do believe that Mark has been around for a little bit longer than Brian Craven has been. So I'm going to give them the edge on this one. As long as Bryant Dynasty can keep his interception levels down, they should be good to go.
Yeah, I think this week they're going to try to get BDG Hollywood over 100 yards rushing to help out Bryant Dynasty. I'm going to shoot for Atlanta on this one.
All right, then. Also on the SFL's Twitch channel at 1:05 p.m. Eastern, the Carolina Skyhawks will be taking on the Jacksonville Kings. It's going to be a great game to watch. Carolina has been playing lights out, have been taking people to overtime. They have significantly changed the way they play. And I know Jacksonville just came off a win. This is going to be hard, but I think I'm going to go with Carolina to win this probably by a field goal. Very close.
I know a couple of people from Carolina, 4 to be exact, if I remember. Siobhan and Harish Prasad. I know them. I know James Klein as well, and of course Matt South. I don't know him personally, but he was a former Baltimore QB. So, oh yeah, I remember those former Baltimore players. And you also got Michael Turillo, who's Davison Joseph. So this is a coin flip because I know Frank Gooden is a very good coach, and he's going to be riding high off of that W against St. Louis. I can only do one game where I'm not going to pick a team, and this is not that game. So I'm just going to pick Carolina only because I have to. I think this is a pick 'em for me.
I think because we're so unsure about the offense for Jacksonville right now, I think that's why that's what's causing the apprehension. But we'll see.
If Dunhill returns to a season 15 form, I don't think Jacksonville loses. Right. So if just Dunhill's got to minimize those mistakes, which I know he will. Hopefully for them it'll be this week, sooner, so they can continue on their win streak. But they each have to minimize some mistakes. I'm just picking Carolina because again, this is a toss up for me.
Got it. The Baltimore Vultures will be taking on the DC Dragons at 2:45 p.m. For the Fans and Twitch Network. I'm going to go with, got to roll with Baltimore. Got too many weapons. Jack Whitmore has too many weapons not to be able to score. The Wake is a force to be. The Wake is defense. Right?
You're correct.
Yeah, make sure I get that right.
Yeah, Committee's offense, Wake's defense. Yep.
Okay. So the Wake has been, obviously they're capable of just shutting people down completely. We saw that this past week. They can keep up the performance that they have been doing. They're going to go Baltimore is going to go very far this season. And I think I'm going to choose them to win this game as well.
Now, this is the one that I will not be picking, but if anybody remembers at the end of the last season, DC took it to us, and it had to be a last-minute game-winning drive by Jack Whitmore to help us go over top and enter the playoffs on a winning streak thankfully against a tough DC team. So this is a game we can't sleep on. Destro and Stephen Monax is going to be ready for us. So we got to get ready for another vicious one at DC. So that's why, and of course, I'm never going to pick my team's game because I usually lose when I pick them. So I'm not going to say it.
Stay safe, man. Stay safe. I got
exactly.
But what happens if you don't pick and you still lose? Then that
has happened. That happened before. I think the last time I was on your show, when I was a regular, I didn't pick it. It was the Denver game in season 16, and they whooped our butt. So I didn't pick that one when we still lost. So it has happened.
Mm-hmm. So what you're saying is that it really doesn't matter, right?
Well, what I'm saying is I'm superstitious as heck. So I'm not going to say anything. I'll feel worse if I say something and we lost. That's what I'm saying.
I feel you, man. I feel you. At 3:15 p.m. on the SFL's Twitch channel, the London Knights will be taking on the Portland Fleet. It's going to be a fantastic game. And given what we have said about them, especially during our last segment in SFL Chat around the water cooler, Johnny Pickner, seasoned vet, going against OJ Bruin, the rookie. I think it depends on who will have a better running game in addition to the passing game. I don't think either one of these teams can afford to be a one-dimensional team. But I think that the way Portland has been playing and how they won last week, I think that they do stand a chance against the London Knights. So I'm picking Portland.
Now, this is the hard one because, again, I know Chad. So he's a very good person, very good friend of mine. I always consider him a Baltimore brother. I believe that London will win if Pickler doesn't throw the INTs. and Pickler's a very, very good quarterback. So, but he can't do what he did at Atlanta this week against Portland. Portland's scary.
Yeah.
So, shoot. And then on Portland's bank, they have the great running game. But the same thing about Bruin can be said. He cannot throw those picks. They are at London, and London has a very dangerous passing game. This is a pick 'em for me. So I'm letting both sides know I'm not picking the other team because I don't respect the other. I don't respect y'all. I respect both teams. I'm picking London on this one because I think they can pull it out, but I would not be surprised if Portland wins because they're that dang on good.
Yeah, and that can be said, guys. That can be said across the board. We're not saying that we love any team any less or that we don't respect you as a team, but we're just doing our pick'ems with our opinions. And a lot of you proved me wrong this past week, so don't be mad. Just prove us wrong. That's all you got to do. All right. Now, the Mexico City Aztecs will be taking on the St. Louis Gladiators for the fans Twitch at 5 p.m. Also on Sunday on the 29th. It's going to be a fantastic game to watch. 2, St. Louis is not the former St. Louis team that you can just kind of write off. But I do think that Mexico City is a little bit more seasoned with the Hall of Fame quarterback Matt Wilson, Phoenix Jones. If St. Louis lets Phoenix Jones get off and they're not prepared for him, Mexico is going to win. And I think that is how they're going to win this game. So I'm going to Mexico.
I'm not for sure how the 5 interceptions happened last week for Matt Wilson. Because again, I missed the game live. And as of this moment, the game was not on demand for me to watch.
Right.
What I'm saying is this. I don't know why Mike Daggs hasn't been targeted enough in Mexico City. He's one of the best tight ends in the game, and he's one of the tallest targets. I say get him the ball to help Matt Wilson out. The running game is already there. Both Phoenix Jones and Ray Bentley can, carry the team if they want. And the points that they score would have been enough in any other game except for the game that they played. I say they need to get Mike Daggs involved more. If they do, they will win. I think they'll win more games than they think. Be honest with you. I think if Mexico City gives Mike Daggs the ball more, they win. I'm going with Mexico City only because of my thinking there about Mike Daggs. Yeah,
definitely. And at 5:20 p.m. on the SFL Twitch channel, the Charleston Predators, will be taking on the Lone Star Glory. Going to be a great game to watch. You do have a new coaching staff over there with the Charleston Predators, even though they have been doing absolutely fantastic this season. Lone Star definitely had to get that win this week to kind of keep them in playoff contention. Both of these are great teams, but actually both of them have new coaching, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, there's been turnover for both.
So it just depends on who has the better defense, in my opinion. I think Lone Star is going to take this one. Probably not by much, though. It's probably going to be like anywhere from 3 to 7 points. But I think they will wind up taking this one. They do have a lot of weapons to throw to as well.
It's been like both teams got weapons. It's just that the quarterback play for Charleston is still getting to the level that they need to be and getting to the level where Lone Star is at currently.
Right.
Lone Star got good quarterback play there. They have a more balanced attack last week. McBride with over 100 yards rushing. I'm going with Lone Star on this one because of their balanced attack.
Gotcha. Shooting over to Monday, August the 30th. The Sioux Falls Sparrows. Yeah, this starts at 7. These games start at 7 on Monday. The Sioux Falls Sparrows will be taking on the Arizona Scorpions on the Simulation Football's Twitch channel. And I'm going to pick my team. I'm going to, of course, pick Arizona, but things got to happen. Our defense has to get some takeaways. I've noticed over the past maybe 2 or 3 weeks that we haven't had any interceptions. We've had a few, they'll have definitely a few tackles, pass deflections, even sacks, but we're not getting to capitalize off those interceptions like we normally would. And I'm not sure exactly what it is, but if we can do that, and if I can keep it to 1 interception or less, get DJ more involved and get him some real numbers, I think we stand a chance against the Sioux Falls Sparrows. So I'm gonna go with us.
Yeah, Sioux Falls defense can carry them. Their offense, we just saw it without Tyree, they can still be hot.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, the any other day, the game that their backup quarterback had will won them the game. It's just that they ran into a buzzsaw this past week. I think your team is good. I think the key point that you said was Moses. If you can get him involved, total yards wise, I think if you get him, I say the target number be 140.
Yeah.
Total yards. However, he gets it. I think you guys will be able to beat Sioux Falls, even though that's going to be a hard thing to do against that defense. That's the thing. Their defense is very hard. Because I experienced that. They definitely helped me in check the last, I think, 2 or 3 times I faced them. So I know how strong their defense is. If Moses can get over 140 total yards, and like I said, you keep the mistakes down. And again, like I said before, your stat line for last week would have won any other game, because that's a great stat line. Just unfortunately, is one of those. It was the 1 out of 10 that happened. Right. 9 times out of 10, your stat line would have been awesome and would have won y'all games. This is the 1 out of 10 that's just what happened, unfortunately. So I don't think that's something you should hold your head, or any team should hold their head down if they lose to San Diego. I know that's the first win, but still, that's nothing to hold your head down. Somebody was going to be the first team that's going to lose that one. I'm going with you guys because I know how Eddie is. You know he's going to be game planning probably a lot more than he should have just to get back on that rebound. Because I know how tough that loss is. I think you guys are going to win it, but it's going to be a tough one. Y'all just need to have Moses be more involved. If y'all can, I think you guys win it.
I totally agree. And the Queen City Corsairs will be taking on the Tulsa Desperados on Monday at 7:20 p.m. on SFL's YouTube channel. And this is going to be a fantastic game to watch. But I think QCC is too hot for me not to pick them this week, because Tulsa, they won their game last week, just this past week. Great numbers, even though JQ did throw the 3 to have the 3 turnovers, still won the game. If you do that against Queen City, you will not win.
There you go.
So if you're not careful, Desperados, you're going to see that L, but I'm going to go with Queen City Corsairs just because they're the hot team right now.
You said what was going to be the difference. If JQ can not commit a mistake against Queen City, the game will be in Tulsa's favor. I'm going with Queen City solely because I know their experience. They got experience in the right places. They got very good weapons, and they don't commit mistakes. So I'm going with Queen City on that one, only because right now JQ is still progressing, and once he continues to progress, he'll get better, and those mistakes he'll make will be fewer and fewer. And he stays with Tulsa. Tulsa's going to be a dangerous team. I'm picking Queen City.
Gotcha. The Fort Worth Toros will be taking on the LA Like It at 9, right? I know, right? Monday at 9 o'clock on the SFL Twitch channel. Gonna be, again, another great game to watch. I'm gonna let you go first.
I'm picking LA.
Okay. Why?
The reason why I'm picking LA is I think their passing game is good. I think that their new offensive philosophy is better than what Fort Worth faced last week in Charleston. No offense to Charleston, but you see the results LA had. They beat a very good Vancouver team and beat them by double digits, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm picking LA. I think Robert Johnson is going to wear out defenses. If Fort Worth can somehow contain Robert Johnson, they have to match him with points, which I don't know if they'll be able to. But they can contain Robert Johnson, they'll be in this game. They can pull out their third straight win. But I'm going with LA.
Mm. You know, I think I'm going to go with LA as well. I think it's going to be a very close game, though. It's not going to be a significant 10, 15 point margin. And the reason I say that is because I did watch how LA changed even before the new coaching staff changed and even after. I think that they have the recipe that they need to win. It's just about rekindling that flame and making sure that it's ignited throughout the entire season and they don't fizzle out week by week. So as long as Sully can get those points that is needed, as long as their defense can stop the Fort Worth Toros, Stephen Hacker, Cameron Collier, if you can stop them from scoring those points, then you stand a chance. I will go with LA on this one. Last but not least, the San Diego Mavericks taking on the Vancouver Legion on SFL's YouTube channel, 9:20 on Monday night. It's going to be another good game to watch. Mavericks coming fresh off a win. I'm sure they got a lot of momentum in their hearts for this. Vancouver coming off a loss. I think I'm going to go with Vancouver on this one, only because they do have, I would say, a slightly more reliable offense versus San Diego. Not to say anything negative about Mavericks. I mean, hey, you just won, so clearly you're doing a thing, Javier. But, you know, I just think that with Kendra Hall, with Robert Redford, you just got a lot of weapons over there to utilize. And I'm not sure if the defense of the Mavericks is going to be able to hold them back. So I'm going to choose Vancouver.
Now, what's going to help San Diego win this one is actually two things. Mm-hmm. They have to force turnovers. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, I'm not trying to throw shade on Tom Pepper, but unfortunately, Tom Pepper will throw interceptions. If they can force those interceptions and then part two, score touchdowns, not field goals, touchdowns off of those interceptions, because you know Vancouver is a scoring machine. But if they can capitalize off of Vancouver's mistakes by scoring touchdowns, San Diego will get their second win. Be as it may, I'm picking Vancouver because of the experience with the weapons that they have. You know, Andy is going to be super motivated. This might be one of those games where you don't want to be the team that faces a high-powered team after a loss. And Vancouver is one of those high-powered teams. I'm picking Vancouver.
Yeah, they're playing angry. We're going to see.
Yep.
All right. So to find the channels on your device, whether it's phone, whether it's a television, and you want to watch us on the big screens and everything, you can go to Next Level. It's nextlevel.com and FTFnext.com. And of course, again, our website, www.simulationfl.net, in order to see all the stats, all of the scheduled times, and for more information about the league. Next up, I have my fourth and goal interview with Ike and Tina. Stay tuned. What is up, SFL Nation? And we are back with my fourth and goal interview featuring two wonderful people here. I have Miss Ike McBride here with me and Miss Tina Begin. How are you doing, ladies?
Really good. Glad to be here, Ashley.
Doing good.
Good. I'm so glad to have both of you. You have made significant strides in the league. Both of you have. And it's a pleasure and an honor to have you on my show. This is going to be fun. So let's get to know you. I would like for Tina to start off because I know you've got some storms and stuff going on over there. I just want to make sure I get everything out. But give us your name. If Tina is not your real name, if you feel comfortable with giving us your real name, please. Your hometown, interesting facts about yourself, and your favorite NFL team.
Okay. Yeah, my real name is Tina Began. And I'm 44. I'm from West Warwick, Rhode Island. An interesting fact, actually my husband and James Troll can tell you that they call me Sneaky Ninja because I like to play pranks on them. And I don't know if you know who Jackass is.
Yes, I love Jackass.
I do that all the time. And I usually like stay at the bottom of the stairs and I sneak attack them with a pillow and I hit them. Yeah, we're crazy.
It keeps it interesting though. I love that.
I've gotten them both a couple times. More James than Albert.
If that's recorded, I would love to see that. I'm sure somebody has. And who's your favorite NFL team?
So I always liked the Cowboys, but now I root for the Patriots because obviously we're in New England and
sometimes we just have to roll with the punches. If you didn't say Green Bay, so it's not terrible.
No, I know.
All right. And what about you, Ike?
So my real name, as you can see on the thing on the Zoom, is Doreen Cuffer. I'm 62. I'm originally from Chicago, but now I live in Albuquerque, New Mexico, which is a part of the United States. It's not a part of Mexico. An interesting fact about me, I thought about this for a while, and I think the thing that everybody should know is that after I have a few beers, I fancy myself a pretty good synchronized swimmer.
Okay.
But the best part is that I have been actually, I synchronized swim with Charles.
Oh my gosh.
Charles is my brother-in-law. So, and he and I are awesome. Absolutely awesome.
That is wonderful.
My favorite team, Chicago Bears.
I love you. I love you so much. Bears all the way. And as soon as you told me you're from Chicago, I kind of figured that. But then again, sometimes you don't know because a lot of people say that they grew up in this specific area, then or they're living in a specific area, but they have different teams. So that's awesome. That's awesome. So, ladies, you've been here for a little bit. How did you find the league, Tina? How did you find out about us?
Through Albert and James. They were talking about it, and they're like, "Oh, you gotta do it. I'm like, all right, I guess. And I did it, and here I am.
Wonderful, and we're glad that you are here. And what about you, Doreen?
So I learned about it obviously from Charles. He would disappear on the weekends, and we'd be wondering where he was. And at one point he said, "Yeah, I'm buying a team. I want you to be on the team." And so that's how it happened.
Okay, simple enough. I meant to say before I started that second question that I really would like to see some film of you and Charles doing some synchronized swimming together.
I know there's film out there. I don't have it, and I don't know if Charles wants it out there, but I thought people would want to know that he's more than just a buttery Chardonnay kind of guy,
Absolutely. I love it. I wish he was here so that we can elaborate on that a little bit more, but that's wonderful. I love it. So have you ladies ever played sports in real life?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Doreen, what did you used to do?
I used to play softball in some pretty competitive slow pitch leagues up and around the Chicago area, both 16-inch and 12-inch. I was a crazy bowler up until about 12 years ago. I used to say bowling was my life. Played in tournaments, national tournaments, and things like that.
Fantastic. The last time I went bowling, we were at the convention, and I don't think I got past the 69. It was terrible. We did so, and I only had one beer. So maybe if I had another one, maybe that would have went better.
You have to drink a certain amount of beers until you get really good, but then you can't go over that.
Got it. So we got to go together so you can teach me these ways.
Not a problem.
And Tina, what about you? Have you been involved in sports?
I was in a bowling league for a little while,
Okay.
and I never was on like any kind of teams, but I have a younger brother, and I used to play flag football with them and basketball, and until I broke my hand, and now I don't do any sports. So yeah, I had 3 surgeries on my hand, everything. Yep, all set with sports now.
Yeah, I can understand. And unfortunately, that has been a common story when it comes to me doing interviews and asking that particular question. Like, they loved the sports that they were doing until they got hurt. They broke something or things like that.
And we used to just play for fun. Like, it wasn't anything competitive. Yep.
But you just kind of apprehensive about getting back into it because of that? Or?
Mm-hmm.
I can understand.
I'm not allowed to touch a basketball. Not allowed to touch a basketball now.
Understood. So I want to know, why did you choose the positions that you chose? So Tina, why did you decide to become a defensive tackle? And Doreen, why would you want to be a running back in the league?
Go ahead, Tina.
Okay. I like defensive tackle because I like to sack the quarterback and stuff. And I'm only 5'1", so like being this big, tall player makes me feel, pretty good.
Absolutely.
So
I'm 5'2", girl, so I'm right there with you.
yeah, I'm 5'1". I think I'm shrinking though.
Me too. I looked up, my 13-year-old daughter is taller than me. I'm like, what is going on here?
My daughter that was here, she's up to here on me, and then my niece is tall as me. She's only 11.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
What is in this milk we're giving them?
Awesome.
Doreen, why running back?
So I was gonna be a bunch of different things. So when Charles first approached me, we talked about being a defensive lineman for a while, maybe even O-line, and then he was retiring pseudo. So then I was like, no, I want to be a running back. And so that's why that happened. And it just worked itself out that way.
Wonderful. I didn't know if either of you just had those positions in mind because you admire different players in the league, maybe perhaps someone on the Patriots or someone on the Bears that you admire. That's why you wanted to kind of emulate that. So.
Well, there's always sweetness, but I'm a power back, so my style's a little bit different than his.
Effective, nevertheless.
Exactly.
There has been many times when I go over all of the games that I've called your name particularly as player of the game. So,
well, thank you.
The AI loves you so much. And Tina, I've seen you get a few sacks in there too.
Yeah,
oh yeah,
trying.
Yeah, sneaky. I like it. So, if you had a chance to be any other position besides defensive tackle or running back, what would be your favorite position and why?
I don't know.
I think I'd like to be one of either a linebacker or safety, probably a linebacker.
Okay.
And that's probably more because I'm from Chicago, and Chicago football's all linebackers and defense, right?
That's true.
Urlacher, Ditka, stuff like that. Getting in there and getting messy.
I love it. Tina,
I don't know. That's the only position I actually like. When they asked me, I was like, nope, I want to be that because Maybe defensive end. I don't know.
Okay. Still on the defense, though?
Yeah, defense, definitely.
I like it. I'm looking at your stats now. So you've been in the league, Tina, for 3 seasons. You played with the Houston Hyenas, the Queen City Corsairs, and now with the Lone Star Glory. You have 38 tackles, 19 assists, 11 sacks in your career, 3 half sacks. You haven't received any interceptions as of yet, but you've had 19 tackles for loss and 3 pass deflections. So who was responsible for creating your build? And are you taking the advices of the coaches in your progressions, or are you kind of doing your own thing?
Yeah, I usually ask the coaches and the GMs and stuff, and just get advice on what I should actually do. Like every week, what on my progression, like what I should work on.
Okay. Is there a specific goal that you would like to see your player accomplish?
I really haven't thought about it, to be honest.
More sacks in the league?
Yeah, more sacks. Just just trying to play really good defense, and try to stop them from scoring. Getting
make our jobs, make the quarterback job as hard as possible. I understand.
Right, correct.
And so, Doreen, I'm looking at yours too. You've been in the league for 3 seasons, all with the Lone Star Glory. Seasons 15, 16, and 17. So y'all came in around the same time. Mm-hmm. You have 495 carries, 2,075 rushing yards, 18 rushing touchdowns, 163 receptions for 639 yards with 3 reception touchdowns. And out of the time you've been here, you've only fumbled the ball 3 times. You have not done it this season, but you did in your first season and 2 for your second. So same question, who's responsible for your build and even progressing it? Or is it you, or are you taking coach's advice?
So at the beginning of the season, we'll sit down, virtually, sit down and talk about what we want to do. Mm-hmm. And then I listen to the coaches with input from them, and then they say, this is what we think, and we talk over different animations and things like that. And then I follow the plan. Now, I will say last year at the end of the year, towards the end of the season, we changed the plan a little bit.
Okay.
And I think it really helped because last year in the playoffs, I was just really, 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 really playing well. I mean, with my playoff yards, I went over 1,000 yards for the season. So, but I think our coaches throughout, and we had a coaching kind of a shift this past year, but our coaches have always been really, really good and really instrumental, I think, in making the team as a whole work together, and all of the players kind of work together. I don't think we have anybody who's out there doing their own thing. It would be interesting to find that out, but I don't think we have anybody who's like, to heck with the coaches, I'm just going to do my own build. Mm-hmm. I think we know that there's a plan, right? Mm-hmm. Between Charles and Albert and Yogi and everybody, there's a plan, and so and we follow it.
Got it. So Tina, was it a given that you were going to Lone Star when you found out that Albert was leaving Queen City? Because I know you both was over there for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I kind of just follow him around, I guess.
It's a 2-package deal. You're going to take him, take me.
It's a 2-package deal.
Okay, I understand. Some people kind of like being on the same team with their spouses or their loved ones. Some people like that competition. So it's when Sunday or Saturday comes, it's like, okay, we're not talking today, dear. I love you, but we're not talking. So that's interesting. And Doreen, would you ever consider playing for another team besides the Lone Star Glory? Is it because Charles is because of the relationship you and Charles had? Would you ever consider moving on?
We don't get paid a lot here, so I'd have to say no. I mean, I mean, what would be the incentive, right? I mean, the team, we've got the best locker room. Everybody in the locker room is really great. I don't know if you've been watching any of the games, but it seems that every year in the beginning of the season, the announcers don't really understand that I'm a woman. Every year. And they'll be calling me, he does this and he does this. And my team blows up the chat. She's a woman, damn it. They're just so supportive of making sure that people know that I'm a woman and I'm out there playing. So the guys on this team, they're great guys. I think we have a really, really good bond.
Fantastic. Now, it's funny. Well, before I ask that question about the team camaraderie and going back into that, Tina, I noticed that you have been on 3 different teams and Lone Star is where you've ended. And Doreen's expressed beautifully how Lone Star is, and we're going to kind of go back into that. But can you give us the differences between Houston's locker room, Queen City's locker room, and now Lone Star, if you see differences?
I do. I feel like this team was more welcoming. Like, I felt as soon as I joined the chat, like everybody welcomed us and like they talked to you. Like, I just felt like this was home now. Like, I think this is going to be my team I'll be on for a long time.
I like it. So to both of you, what is it about Lone Star's glorious locker room that you enjoy being a part of? Even looking at your current record with being 1-3 right now, what is the camaraderie like? What is it like in there right now?
It's still positive. Like, I feel like everybody's still positive, and like, I mean, I have nothing negative to say about any team I've ever been on, but like, I feel like the positivity in the chat is always amazing. No matter how good we do, how bad we do, we're always there to get to the next game and just play as a team and collaborate as a team.
Though I will say, and I forgot to mention Dave, the king. Is he the king of our team? But
probably.
But this year has been a little different in the beginning of the season for us because of some things personally that were going on with folks. So some of the stuff that we have been doing didn't really happen. So in the past, we'd have a lot of simulation games before the season and we'd all be chatting in the locker room watching the games. This year, I think this season we only had one. In years past, we would actually be in the chat while we're watching the games. There hasn't been, Dave had family stuff going on. I had family stuff going on. So there hasn't been as much kind of getting together that way. But so we're mostly just, chatting, writing, chatting. But even that is, it's all about a team. It's not about a person. Even if Ace says, oh, I let you guys down, everybody jumps on him and says, it's not you, it's the team. And so there's just a really, really, really good bond. When we were starting out the season, we were talking about my build and I didn't respond to him. I only responded to Yogi. Mm-hmm. And Yogi Albert was kind of like, oh, wow, she's dissing me. And Yogi goes, man, we got 3 years together. She'll like you. Just give her time. So, they even joke about you, which is nice.
Very much so. Very much so. And I do admit, with the bow over there, I think that locker room is probably one of the funniest, one of the livest locker rooms you probably could be a part of, especially.
Oh, with Gunny?
Gunny? Oh, yeah. So you got a lot of big, bright personalities over there to keep you entertained and to
keep the
camaraderie up too. I like that. So what do you think about your season so far as a collective unit? What do you think needs to change to kind of get over this hump?
I think we made some changes in the off season. I think we were one of the only teams that actually didn't draft anybody, if not the only team. We did everything with free agents. And so I think we just need to start to gel a little bit more. You know, if you look at the previous 2 seasons, our team stayed pretty much the same. And by the second season, we really, really did well. I mean, you know, Charles and Wally by the team. The first 2 years, we're in the playoffs. I mean, when does that happen? So these guys do know how to put a team together, do know how to plan. And I think it's just now with the new coaching staff, making sure that all gels together. I think, and everybody's attitude, and Tina can justify or, verify this as well. The attitude is stick with the plan. We've got a plan. The plan's going to work. Well, I think most of our all but one game so far this year has been away. So we've had some, that doesn't surprise me. The losses don't surprise me. I'm going to tell you something. You're muted.
Thank you.
Sorry.
I knew it was going to happen once at one time. Mm-hmm. But, looking at who you've battled, Vancouver Legion, Carolina, Louisiana, Mexico City, you're in a great division, first off. Everybody in this division can really play. And they weren't terrible losses. It's almost like just a tweak a little bit in the playbooks, perhaps on a little bit on offense, maybe on defense as well. You guys can get back to that limelight that you're used to being in, because to me, I thought it was amazing that the franchise just started, like you were saying, and you're already in the playoffs. And I'm like, right. This is amazing. What the heck have going on here?
And I think that we thought Louisiana was going to be a lot tougher than it should have been, simply because Coach Doug, all those guys, that's where they went, and they're the defense. So, and I know that they were keying on me. I mean, who wouldn't?
Exactly.
And Coach was making the playbook last year. So, so we knew that was going to be a really difficult game.
But still 24-37, it could have been 66-17,
Yes, it could have.
But you also have Sioux Falls Sparrow coming up. That game is, what is it?
Tonight.
Tonight.
Yep.
Okay. So what do you all think about your chances of this game? What do you think offensively and defensively that you'd have to do in order to win this game?
Go ahead, Tina. You're married to the head coach. What's our plan?
I haven't really talked to him the last couple of days about it. I've been working overtime, and now it's like crazy. I hope we win, but I don't know. I guess I don't know. I really don't know. Defense, I guess I just gotta get some tackles and just take the ball. Like I don't really know other than that.
Make them fumble.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't honestly. I don't really know much about the other team. Like I said, I'm super busy this week. I haven't even had time to even look at the other team or whatever. But I hope we win. I mean, we need to win.
I think if you look at the game where our one victory this season, what really worked well was how much Ace spread the ball around to his receivers. If you think back, and I think Ashley, you were watching the game last week, he really kind of focused on one or two receivers and didn't spread the ball around. So I think if we spread the ball around, we'll be better. And I think our defense just wasn't as aggressive last week for some reason. It looked like it didn't look like our defense. Like our defense, I think, is really, really aggressive. The times that they were aggressive, it seemed to me to be dumb aggressive, like going for the ball instead of the player when you could have gotten the player. Does that make sense?
Definitely. So what do you think? What do you ultimately want to do in the league? As far as, do you have any aspirations to be on stats? Do you have any aspirations to be involved in the league in any other aspect besides being players?
Well, I do stats. I've been on stats since the beginning. And that's a lot of fun. Other than that, I'm working. I'm pretty busy with my work. I own my own law firm, so I have a lot of outside the locker room and off the field things that I do, and I wouldn't want to go into something if I couldn't give it 100%. So, and I'm not the kind of person who is like going to create great graphics or any of that stuff. That's not me. So I do stats. I'm cheerleader, right?
And that's important too, because every team has to have someone that's going to be responsible for doing at least 6 games of stats. And if you can be that person that they can rely on, you're good to go.
Yep.
Tina, what about you? Broadcasting, stats?
No. Oh no. I'm behind the scenes. I like to be behind the scenes. I'm probably just gonna stick to doing playing a guy in the team. But I mean, I already have Albert and James that spend a lot of their time, doing their stuff, and like I said too, like I work full time. I have a daughter, so it's pretty busy, I don't really understand the stats either, so I don't know, I'd have to sit down and talk to somebody about it. I don't really get the whole thing. I watch them do it. I watch them watch the games, and I'm just like, what are you doing? I don't know.
Well,
don't get it.
I've tried broadcasting. I've tried stats. The only reason why I could not keep up with them was because my internet was faulty. I have Wi-Fi. And of course, if it's not a hardwired connection, you can go down at any point. If you ever listen to the game I called, I'm literally calling it blind because I had no game to watch because my screen got stuck.
Oh.
And so I'm relying on my play-by-play caller to call out everything, and then I have to try to make it sound like I saw it. It was crazy.
Ooh.
It was crazy, but it was fun. It was a learning curve. It was something that now I know that can happen. You can prepare for it in the future. So if you ever want to get into it, just hook up with that. Should definitely help you out.
Absolutely. It's not hard.
No.
It's more addition and subtraction if you do offense, and I like doing offense. So.
And when I tried stats, we had to do both sides. So
at the same for both teams.
Well, yes, we were just trying to catch. I was trying to capture who made the play and who tackled him, and I'm like, guys.
Oh my god.
But if you're concentrating on one half, then it's much easier.
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself in 1 year's time, in real life and in the SFL? What are some goals that you want to accomplish by August 21st of next year?
Well, I'll start because Tina needs time to think, I think.
Yeah.
I'm getting to know her pretty well. So I am preparing for my retirement. So I hopefully will be closer to that, at least for personal. That's personal, not team. Don't freak out, guys. I'm just going to stay gold all the way. Continue building my power back. And this year, my goal is over 1,000 yards in the season. And I'm on, even though have a losing season, I'm on the mark to get that. The other thing I'd like to do, Ashley, and that I think is important for this league is to somehow elevate the how people see the women and girls in the league. I think that we're kind of not really focused on much. I've been noticing the last couple games that I've been watching and doing stats on that there's a little bit more talk about it. But I think that, that as women, we really offer a lot to the league, and it kind of needs to be more celebrated than I think it is. For instance, my rookie year, I was a running back with the most yards that year. Nobody even said anything, or rookie running back with the most yards that year. And nobody even said anything about it. So, to kind of toot us, to toot our horns, to celebrate us a little bit more, I think that would be great.
I agree with you. I really do.
Okay, and Tina, what about you? Any goals?
Say, just get through this year. Hopefully, COVID doesn't hit the family. That's a big goal.
That's a good one.
Yes. Because we currently know somebody in the hospital right now with COVID that is very ill. So we're hoping, everybody's healthy and stays healthy. And I'm going actually in September, we're going back to the office. So I've been home for the last year and a half, working from home. So I guess a goal is to go back to work, back to the office. But personally, I want to get back to the gym, if that makes any sense.
I understand. I actually have to do the exact same thing. That COVID, when you're constantly just sitting there and you're not, all you can do is just eat, and then your favorite show comes on, then you're eating, and then you're not taking care of yourself. Even being able to go outside and walk around and doing things like that, you're apprehensive about. So I think we all have a few COVID pounds to shed,
Oh, definitely.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But it has been a wonderful, wonderful experience talking with you ladies. And I actually have one more question for you. Hold on one second. All right. So one of the last questions, if it's not the last question. So what team in your division are you looking forward to playing if you have not played them already? Is there particular ones that I would kind of imagine Louisiana, because of the history, may have been one of the favorite ones to watch, but what is it?
I don't think Louisiana's in our division. So my answer is Fort Worth, simply because we get a trophy, because it's the I-35 trophy, and we've got the trophy and always had the trophy. So I want to keep the trophy.
Oh, I did not know that.
Well, I think it's a virtual trophy, but it's a trophy.
Oh.
So I'm looking: Mexico City Aztecs, Houston Hyenas, Fort Worth Toros.
Yep.
So that is your division. And Mexico City is the only undefeated team as of right now in your division.
All right. Well, we're going to beat them.
There you go.
That's who Tina wants to play. There we go.
We're going to beat them.
Just because you have no losses, we're going to make you get one.
Exactly.
I love it. I love the attitude. And what advice would you have for any ladies, and we can do ladies or anyone that wants to join the league that may be a little bit apprehensive about it? What is some advice that you would give them in creating a player and just being here in general?
I would say just do it and have fun. Like, just, take it as like a little outlet of your everyday hectic life, and just enjoy it. It's something like to get through COVID, like this has kind of helped us. You know what I mean? It was, you could still be a little social with people, and, just do it.
I love it. That's my motto too.
Yeah. I mean, just go in there, jump in there, do it, and ask people for help.
Yes.
IM people or DM or whatever it's called in this world, and just reach out to folks and say, I'm thinking of doing this. What do you think? And because everybody's just so helpful.
Definitely. And I told you I do this while we're talking. I just think of other stuff. But what do you think about women in esports communities anyway? I know that we do game. We're women game. We're gamers. So what do you feel about the involvement of women in esports and how we can get more involved?
So I'm kind of a dinosaur where that's concerned, simply because, I mean, my first game was Pong. It was, before there was a Nintendo, before there was a PS anything. I don't have clue one how to operate the game. I've got my Xbox and I do my golf and my football and, and human fall flat. But I don't have, like I said before, the time to really get that involved in it. But I think for younger kids, as long as it's within reason, so you're not like sucked into the computer or the video game all the time, the social aspect of it, and Tina and I were kind of talking about this with how kids have suffered through COVID and the social interaction, ways that kids can get social interaction because they can't right now, I think are really good. And that applies to anybody who wants to play games, I think.
Agree. And moderation too. Like, you got to know how long to be on, and difference between life and that and games. Like,
right.
Got it. And Doreen, you kind of talked about this a little bit earlier when you were saying that, sometimes you kind of see it as women get maybe not as much shine as the guys in certain categories and things like that. Do you think that, what do you think that could be implemented into the league, not just here, but in leagues all over, that could help women to feel more involved, and not get the feeling like either you don't belong here? Not saying that we had this feeling, because I never had this feeling here. No. But some people may feel that way.
Right. So, maybe a channel for us, for our own chat. I have never posted in Gen Chat. I look at that place. It's a zoo. It's stuff I don't understand. And it's a bunch of guys that I think are just, I don't know, posting memes, and no offense. I mean, I know that they have a lot of fun in there and that's their world, but that's not us. I mean, look at Tina. How many times has she said, and have you said, Ashley, in this interview, I'm a mom and I work and I have to deal with those things, and, how we can kind of support ourselves in this world with those things that aren't necessarily in that world.
Good point. I like it. Tina, anything to add?
No, I actually agree with her. Yeah. I do.
I like it. Ladies, this has been a wonderful conversation with two beautiful people. I'm so glad to get to know you. And we have to do this again sometime. Absolutely.
Hey, Ashley, can I just tell you about the story about my name?
Yes, please. Please.
Okay.
That's perfect.
So my mother's name was Irene. Last name, obviously, Cuffer, because she married my father, but her maiden name was McBride. And when she was growing up, they called her Ike McBride. And when Charles was trying to convince me to play, she was kind of egging me along to do it as well. Huge Bears fan, even huger Chicago Cubs fan, loves sports. And she passed away right before I made my player. So she was born in 1934. That's why I'm 34. And so I played for her.
That's awesome.
That is beautiful. Love it. That is beautiful. Because I think this was one of those questions I was going to ask you, because it was so unique. And I'm glad that you reminded it. I'm glad that you just brought it up, and condolences to you. I lost my father this year, so I understand where you are. Mm-hmm. But that is a beautiful way to honor her. And I like that.
Thank you.
And Tina, you're just Tina.
I'm just Tina.
Just Tina Began, for those people who should listen to the recording so they know how to pronounce the name when they're calling our game.
There you go.
Because they messed that up too.
Oh.
I think last week you were called Began.
Began?
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. We've gotten Began, Bacon, Bijan, it's just begin.
Sometimes, I have to laugh sometimes because it's like, I know you see this. I know you see this. But then sometimes, they have their issues too. Maybe they didn't wear their glasses that day or something like that. But
I was very gracious, Ashley. Very gracious.
I try. But Doreen, there has been many times where I've heard them refer to you as male, and I would say, "Hey, just guys, it's female." It's like, and I'm one of the moderators, so I know you see me. Like, listen, guys, we're gonna have to get this together. Mm-hmm. So maybe when they see this interview, this is what's gonna be the.
There you go.
Saving grace. And if that'll work, let me know. I'll go get him. But I can't let you ladies go without giving you the last word. So that can be a song if you choose to sing. That can be that could be a poem, or that can be just a simple shout out. Right now, Tina, the floor is yours.
Oh Lord, I'm not going to sing.
I'm sure you can.
I don't have a poem. I always say it is what it is. Yeah. It's just what it is.
That's your last word? It is what it is.
It is what it is.
I like it.
I am who I am.
There you go. We're gonna put that on a shirt and sell it. Sector 6, we gotta pick that up.
There you go.
And what about you, Ike?
So I think I just want to give a shout out to all the guys on the team. And I'm going to say guys because Tina and I are here for from the beginning helping me to be here, to make such a welcoming environment, to reach out to me when I've gone through some difficult times, and for the family that we are. Love you guys.
Fantastic. I'm sure y'all keeping them in line over there too. That's what you didn't say.
Ain't no way.
Much.
Not when you got the craziest one as the head of the team. That you can't. You can't.
To be a fly.
I gotta live with one of them. two of them.
To be a fly on the wall, to experience some of those moments with you guys, I swear. Especially when Bubba enters. I wonder how many times has Bubba entered the locker room?
He's only come in once.
Oh, okay.
Recently, he was just introduced and he came in once, I think.
I have to have him and his personality on the show. One of these
Yes,
days.
you do.
But thank you all for being on. Looking forward to putting this out there, getting the word out there. And please, ladies, whenever you want to, you have a spot on my show. Perhaps y'all can help me go over some of these games one time.
Sure.
All right.
Love to do that. Thanks a lot, Ashley. Thanks for taking the time.
You're very welcome. Anytime, love. Bye. All right, everybody. And that is it. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate you. Special shout out goes out to Ike McBride, Tina Begin, and of course, my co-host, Mr. T. Roy Gaines. Thank you so much for being here. Any last words for our good people out here?
Yeah. How come every time we are on this show that this is a long show, long blank show? We started this at 6:30. It's now 8:07 Eastern. We will have a novel by now with all the appearances I've been on the show, because it lasts longer than an hour. I don't mind. I'm just realizing, like, every time I'm on, it's over an hour. It's like an hour and a half.
It's supposed to be an hour.
Yeah.
Never.
I apologize. That's my fault. It's not. Where are you at? Are you over here?
The last time you did that, I was wrong. So I think I'm over there.
You over here?
I don't know. Just do both.
wherever she is, I'll find out eventually when she puts this on. It's not her fault. It's the guy with the black and red's fault. So please do not be mad at her. I'll do better and shorten my recaps next time.
No, man, but we had a lot of good stuff. And honestly, it's really hard to keep it at that 1 hour mark because there's so many good things to talk about, so many opinions to be stated and things like that. So I don't mind. It's good quality. I can see we were just on here not, really talking about anything, but it's good quality. So I don't mind.
Yeah, like I told you, if she would have recorded me before we actually started, because you see me kind of chill, I'm kind of being more relaxed now, but woo, I was on 10 before we started recording.
And it's all good, man. It's all good. The next time I will record you though, just so they can get that little feedback.
Just make sure I don't drop any swear bombs like I did just before we started recording today.
That's why, actually, I think Ike and Tina had a few. No, I think Ike, she had a few bombs she dropped. So it's okay. It's okay. I just let you know it's mature audiences only. It's all right.
Yeah, I know. I just, now that I'm a GM on top of vice president of a team, I gotta carry myself a little bit better. So.
Hey, sometimes you get mad though. That don't mean you don't get mad. That don't mean you don't slip.
That's true. That's true. But man, there's a couple of the past 2 broadcasts I have done for the SFL. There's a couple of times I thought I was going to slip. I had to remind myself, hey, there's 2 times. One was Sioux Falls, their new player. Somebody said a hashtag with the new player's name, and if it was 2 letters different, it would have been a word that would have gotten us in trouble. I couldn't repeat. I even said it in the chat. AJ Levy said a hashtag supporting his new player, but I can't say it because it's 2 letters away, and I'm afraid I'm gonna mess up TOS. And then this past game I did, Fort Worth versus Charleston. Mm-hmm. There's 2 numbers, 2 players with the same number. I even mentioned during the broadcast. I didn't say what the numbers were. I purposely said that because I usually say, for example, 35 on 35 action, right? When you see that play, then you know what I'm talking about. I had to say it. I usually say it, but I can't say it because of the number, so I'm not going there. I said it during the broadcast. I had to catch myself because I was like, if I go say this number, this is going to be, I'm going to be ripped to shreds.
You're going to be, it's pauses all down the chat. You're going to have pauses all of your DMs. Cam is going to probably just send you.
I was going to hear it for sure. If I was...
But I already know what you're talking about. That's crazy. That's crazy. Oh, man. But T-Roy, it's always a pleasure to have you on. We have so much fun when we going over all the games and everything. Very knowledgeable about the league in itself and about the games and everything, especially since you're a broadcaster. I expect you to be. But I really appreciate your time, brother, always.
I must have fooled you being knowledgeable and stuff.
Yeah, I guess it's glasses.
I appreciate the compliment. Yeah, I don't know. I think I've been wearing glasses like the past 2 times I've been on your show. Usually I wear contacts, but when it's doing SFL related stuff, I have to wear the glasses.
You put the glasses on as +5 intelligence added.
Oh, I need that. With the glasses off, I need like +15. Shoot.
Shoot, are we all?
Yes.
But listen, thank you so much for being on. Looking forward to seeing you next week, brother. All right, if you can make it.
Hopefully I can make it.
All right, and to you, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to bringing you another great podcast next week. But until then, y'all, stay safe, treat each other well. T-Roy and Striker out.